Artyom was just an ordinary boy in a small town, but his life was far from ordinary. From the moment he stepped into the classroom each day, he could feel the weight of the stares, the whispers, and the muffled laughs. Unlike his classmates, Artyom was a little different. His round figure made him stand out, and for some reason that seemed to make him an easy target. "Why can't they just leave me alone?" he often wondered, holding back tears as cruel words like fatso and chubby echoed in his ears. But what no one knew was that Artyom had a secret. While others spent their afternoons playing video games or hanging out at the park, he was dedicating every spare moment to his passion, wrestling. His small bedroom was a shrine to determination, with trophies, medals, and training schedules taped to the walls. Wrestling wasn't just a hobby for him. It was a way to prove to himself that he was more than the names they called him. One day, after another round of mocking from his classmates, something changed in Artyom. He clenched his fists, not with anger, but with resolve. Could this be the moment he finally stood up for himself? Would his hidden strength become his shield? The classroom buzzed with the usual laughter, but no one could imagine the storm brewing within Artyom. What he was about to do would leave everyone speechless and change everything. As the laughter echoed around the room, Artyom sat frozen in his seat, his heart pounding. He gripped the edges of his desk, feeling the sting of their words like tiny daggers. Every joke, every snicker seemed louder today, more piercing than ever before. He glanced at the clock, silently willing time to move faster. Just a few more hours, and he could escape this place. But could he really keep running forever? Artyom wasn't weak. He knew that. All those hours spent training, pushing himself harder than anyone else his age, had made him stronger. Yet, standing up in front of everyone, confronting their cruelty, felt like climbing an impossible mountain. His mind raced back to his first wrestling match. He had lost, miserably, but that defeat had sparked something in him, a fire to prove he was capable of more. Wrestling had become his escape, his strength, his armor. But here, in the classroom, it felt like none of it mattered. From across the room, the loudest of his tormentors threw another insult his way, triggering a fresh wave of laughter. Artyom clenched his jaw, his knuckles turning white. He could feel his pulse quicken as memories of their endless teasing flashed through his mind. They didn't know him. Not really. They didn't see the determination behind his quiet demeanor, the hours of work he poured into making himself better. But would they ever see it? Or would they only continue to mock him, blind to the strength he carried within? The air in the classroom felt heavier than usual, charged with unspoken tension. Artyom's thoughts raced as he replayed every insult, every laugh that had cut into him over the years. He wasn't angry. No, it was something deeper, a mix of hurt, frustration, and a longing for things to be different. His eyes darted around the room, catching glimpses of his classmates who had no idea what he was truly capable of. Could they even imagine the strength he had hidden away? On the other side of the room, Max, the loudest of the bullies, leaned back in his chair, smirking like he had won some kind of game. For Max, it wasn't personal. He thrived on being the center of attention, and teasing Artyom was just an easy way to get a laugh. But what Max didn't realize was that his words had created cracks that were now ready to break open. Artyom's best friend, Sasha, glanced at him from across the room, her brow furrowed with concern. She had seen this look before, the one that meant Artyom was at his limit. Sasha wanted to step in, to say something, but she knew Artyom too well. He wouldn't want anyone fighting his battles. The teacher droned on, oblivious to the quiet war brewing in the back of the room. Artyom's fists unclenched, but his resolve tightened. He wasn't sure how, But something was going to change today. It had to. The question was, how far would he have to go? The bell rang for recess, but Artyom didn't move. His classmates rushed out, their laughter fading down the hallway, but Max lingered, tossing a crumpled paper at Artyom's desk. "Don't sit too long, might break the chair." Max sneered before swaggering out. The door slammed shut, leaving the classroom eerily quiet. Artyom sat still, his hands gripping the edge of his desk. Every word, every laugh echoed in his mind like a storm. 4 years he had endured this, always telling himself to stay quiet, to be the bigger person. But something about today felt different. He couldn't just let it go, not this time. As he stood, his reflection caught his eye in the window. The boy staring back at him wasn't the scared kid he used to be. His broad shoulders, firm stance, and determined expression reminded him of the hours he spent perfecting every wrestling move. For a moment, he imagined what it would feel like to silence Max, not with words, but with the strength he'd worked so hard to build. Sasha appeared at the door, her face a mix of worry and curiosity. "Artyom, are you okay?" she asked softly. He gave her a small nod, but his eyes betrayed him. "Just tired of this," he muttered, walking past her into the hallway. The chatter from the playground was distant, muffled, but he didn't head outside. Instead, his feet carried him toward the lockers, where he knew Max would be waiting. His pulse raced. What was he about to do? Could he truly face the person who had made his life so difficult? The tension was almost unbearable. Artyom's footsteps echoed down the empty hallway, each step heavier than the last. His heart pounded in his chest as he neared the lockers, a place where Max and his friends often gathered to crack jokes at others' expense. As he turned the corner, he spotted them, Max leaning against a locker, his laugh ringing out as he mimicked someone in a cruel, exaggerated tone. The sight made Artyom's fists clench, but something stopped him from stepping forward. Before Artyom could decide what to do, another voice interrupted the scene. It was Sasha. She had followed him, and now she was standing between him and the bullies. "Enough, Max," she said firmly, her voice unwavering. The confidence in her tone surprised even Artyom. "Do you ever stop to think about how your words affect people?" Max smirked, clearly unfazed. "Relax, Sasha. We're just having fun." Maybe Artyom should lighten up, literally. His friends burst into laughter, but Sasha didn't back down. "Fun? You think it's fun to humiliate someone?" she shot back. Her words hung in the air, silencing the group for a moment. Artyom felt a surge of gratitude, but also guilt. He couldn't let Sasha fight this battle alone. As he stepped forward, ready to confront Max, a teacher's voice boomed from behind them. "What's going on here?" The group froze, and Max's cocky demeanor faltered. Artyom glanced at Sasha, their unspoken determination clear. But now, with authority involved, the stakes were even higher. "What?" The hallway went silent as the teacher stepped closer, her sharp gaze moving from Max to Sasha, and finally landing on Artyom. "I asked a question," she said sternly, folding her arms. Max, for the first time, looked unsure of himself. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Artyom took a deep breath and stepped forward. "It's nothing, ma'am," he said, his voice steady but firm. "Just a misunderstanding." Sasha shot him a look, but he gave her a small nod, silently asking her to trust him. The teacher hesitated, then sighed. "I don't want to hear about any more misunderstandings. All of you, back to class." She walked away, leaving the group standing there in the thick silence. Max shifted awkwardly, avoiding Artyom's gaze. Sasha looked ready to argue, but Artyom gently touched her shoulder, stopping her. Instead, he turned to Max, his voice calm but unyielding. "You don't have to like me, Max. But the way you treat people, it's not okay. Maybe think about how it feels to be on the other side." Max looked taken aback, his usual smugness replaced with something that almost looked like guilt. Without another word, he turned and walked away, his friends trailing behind him. As the hallway emptied, Sasha smiled at Artyom. "You handled that better than I would have," she said.